Welcome to the Wolfcast podcast, everybody. I'm True Alpha here with my talented, amazing sister May
Hi.
and my brother from another mother, Fang.
What up?
Today's topic is mental health,
Hmm.
something that I never really took serious until this past couple of months.
Mental health.
I think it goes past a lot of people. They don't think about it, and then it hits them, and they're like, "Man, maybe I should, do something about it." Also, I'm gonna point out real quick. May did the countdown to get started, and I was waiting to hear "go," and I never heard "go." So I was like, "Are we? Are we starting?"
Well, the reason I froze is because I took a bite of this ice cream, and there's like gummies in it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And it like got stuck in my throat, so I was like, "Swallow! Fuck! Come on! Damn it!" Hello, welcome to the Wolfcast.
You should know better than take a bite of something when we're about to do the podcast.
I took the bite before, and then you were like 3, 2, and I was like at 2, I had swallowed, and then it was just like, nope, here I am, like 1. Come on, welcome to the Wolfcast podcast, everybody.
Welcome to Wolfcast podcast. Please, I am not able to give you the Heimlich right now. I am nowhere near you, so please don't die, brother. You are family, and I don't want you to perish.
I won't perish.
We've
I'll
had
just
this.
choke.
I'll just choke. Then, if he dies, he dies. If you notice a small change to the artwork, we changed the red and black to a blue and black because the blue and black looked a lot better than the red and black. So that's why the sudden change in the artwork. So sorry about that. Yeah, I looked at it with the white and the gold. It just didn't look well, and Fang agreed with me. He's like, "Yeah, we'll just change that," and so we changed it. Yeah. So mental health is a person's condition with regard to their physiological and emotional well-being. Mental health includes our emotional, physiological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence throughout adulthood.
Unless you live in America, then in which case we don't care about your mental health.
Yeah, just stop being sad, get over it,
Yeah,
And
it's just
I
that
hate
easy,
that. Like, it's like, you're not depressed. What do you have to be depressed about? It's like,
I love the Simpsons meme of what is it? It's like, man, I'm really depressed. Have you tried being happy? What a genius idea! Why didn't I think of that?
Amazing.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's also important to note that depression doesn't mean crying in a corner, hugging your legs.
Oh, no.
Depression can take form in a number of different ways, including, a sudden change in movement or behavior, a sudden change in tone. Suddenly you're not into things that you were into before, or lack of motivation, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there have been days where I'll be at work and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this when I get home.
Nah.
I get home and I look at the list that I made of shit that I'm going to do. And it's just like,
Overwhelming.
Why do I even want to do this stuff? Is it even worth it when I can just sit at my desk and do what I do every day?
What's that? Try and take over the world.
That's almost how like I am. Like, you two know me real well. I've always been like a pretty positive, like, try not to fight, try to find like the best in everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But like this past year has just been like the worst, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, it's been the worst for everybody because COVID." And like, I hate to like just like beat it with a hammer because I've said it several times throughout podcasts.
Kicking
but,
a
like,
dead horse.
The after the 4-year relationship, even though mentally I knew that we were in a bad spot, like we both weren't happy, and I
Right.
wish her nothing but the best. But like, it hurt me, and I'm over like I would never like get back with her, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but like that's where it started going downhill for me. And then like the job was getting roughed, so I tried a different job, didn't like it, went back, and then I was like thinking that like everything little thing would just go wrong for me. Like there would be days where I wouldn't hear from you two or Scuba Steve, and like I'm like, my friends hate me. I'm a piece of shit. Like,
Oh
Yeah,
no.
you start building yourself down, breaking yourself down. Your mind would rush to conclusions and then accept those conclusions as fact when it wasn't.
Yeah,
and
our
like
brain is our
That's
worst
a real
enemy.
thing.
it just kept getting to the point where like I was fighting with employees, customers, and it would get to there like here like the past like I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. There was a customer, real nice older lady. I have nothing but the utmost respect for her. She's one of my favorite customers. Asked me what my name was, so I told her. Well, about a week passed. She's like, "Oh, I've noticed that you seem a little down, and like I've heard this from like a lot of my regulars. You seem down. Da da da. What's wrong? Are you okay?" You have to lie. Like I like, what do you do? Tell your cousin, no, I'm fucking bad.
I'd say, yeah, to a customer, you would have to lie. You have to put on, that facade. You have to wear the mask.
I know for me and a lot of my coworkers, like, oh, how you doing? Oh, just living the dream, and I make the joke
Living.
with employees or not employees, but like when I go to stores or restaurants and they're like, how you doing? Like, oh, I'm doing well. I'm like, tell me the truth. You ready to get out of here, aren't you? It's like, yeah, I'm fucking ready to go. It's like, yeah, I feel you. I think, you are trained that, you're not to tell people, how your day is because, you don't want to bring them down. You want to make them happy. You want to get them to spend their money. But, I would have certain customers that I would be straight honest with. It's like, man, it's not a good day. I've had this. I'm having issues. They're like, man, I feel you. It sucks. Here's some advice that might help. I'm like, I really appreciate that. Thank you. So
But
You know,
it's a fine line.
so she like I guess did some Facebook stalking, which is
It's
that's
what we
unheard
do.
of.
It's a girl
But
thing.
but she's like, I found out we used to go to the same church. You know, a lot of people that go to that church, and I just want to let you know that God loves you and that I'm praying for you. And it just like shocked me because like I've never had anyone do that for me, and like everyone's entitled to their own beliefs. Like I believe there's a God out there, but like I've lost my faith a lot out recently. But um, yeah, I mean like the list just goes on and on. Like there was a point in time where like not I think this it wasn't the past month or so, but like previous to that, there's about 3 months where every day I would wake up and I would not try, but I would think of how could I kill myself today?
Mhm.
Like I just didn't want to be here. Like I didn't try any of them. I mean, I have tried in the past, which
so
is
I'm going to
stupid, but
interrupt here. Just a heads up to any viewers. This subject could be getting rather
Heavy.
heavy. By no means do you have to listen.
Mhm.
This is just a warning here. You might hear some things. We're not trying to upset you. We're merely discussing the topic and our opinions and experiences with it as such.
Mhm.
I
like I
know
was,
a lot of people don't like talking about this kind of shit. We're not a lot of people. If you don't talk about it, you can't acknowledge that there's a problem in the world.
Yep.
and that was another issue where I didn't talk about these things to this past couple of years. Like I would always just keep everything bottled up and then it would go away.
It doesn't
But
truly go
like I said,
away.
It never
yeah.
does.
But like I said, I mean I've tried in the past. Fang knows.
Hmm.
Um,
I've stopped you.
and
Hell, he stopped both
like I
of
said,
us.
I haven't tried recently, but there was like a period of time where like I would just wake up and be like, I really wish I just had the strength and the balls to just do this or do that. I'm not gonna name off the things that went through my head because
Right.
they are graphic and
There's
whatnot.
Mhm.
But
I know I've been on a bit of a musical kick here recently. There's a quote from Hamilton. I'm sure you guys are tired of me talking
Oh
about
my god, yes. We get it.
it. We get it. You like
We get
musicals. Shut up.
it.
But there's a quote from a song in Hamilton that hits it. I consider it as a challenge because I like to be challenged. If you challenge me, I'm going to accept it. I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm gonna
Okay.
Alpha knows this. I'll argue tooth and nail until you have definitive proof that I am wrong.
This is off our roommate so bad.
Yeah, because our roommate will be right. Our roommate will be 100% right, but they have yet to prove it to me that they're right. So I sit there and I keep arguing until I'm proven wrong. The quote is, "Dying is easy, young man. Living is harder."
Mhm.
fucking truth.
It's
And I take that as a challenge. Like, you know what? It is. And I'll face that challenge head on. I did my attempt. I was alone when I did my attempt. I have the scar. It's in my neck. And what stopped me was kind of surprising, because what stopped me has been the bane of my existence my entire life, because I'm a very angry person. To the point where I get angry, I get violent. I threw a scouring pad at Alpha. I threw a trash can at Alpha while we were working together.
Well, hang on, for context, when he gets angry, it's not like violent towards people. Like you're
I'm
not
violent towards
physically
people,
violent.
but God
Rewind
help.
to fucking 3 seconds ago where he said he threw a scratch pad and a trash can at me.
Yeah. Well, because it wasn't like at you. It was just at your general direction.
Mm-hmm.
You just
And you
happened
weren't
to be
even
over
mad
there.
at me.
No,
Said,
no,
"Fuck
I was
you,
mad at
Bing."
something else.
Fuck you, Bing.
I was mad at something else. I blew up on the lady that was working with us. You came back there, and I think you were just trying to calm me down. In all honesty, you're like, "Hey, man, you need to knock it off," and I blew up on you for that. Like, you became the target. And then you and I had our little fight and our little discussion, and you told me to get the fuck out of your house. But
I didn't tell you to get the fuck out of the house. I said, if you're going to be like this, you can go home. I'll run it on 2 people.
I thought you told me to get the fuck out of your house.
Mm-mm.
Huh. My memory's fucked then. But yeah, so I'm a rather angry person. When I did my attempt, I took one of my swords to my throat. But what stopped me from going all the way through with it is I got mad. I got really pissed off. Like, incredibly. I think I actually stuck that sword into a wall with how mad I was. And my logic, the way my brain was going, people need you, people depend on you. Why are you giving up on them? And that's what stopped me. I have the scar. I lived through it. I'm covered in scars. But it's just, people don't. I want to touch subject on this because, not saying anybody listening or you guys don't get what I'm about to say, because I'm almost certain you all do. Over the years, men, I'm not trying to be misogynistic here, by no means, but men aren't allowed to have emotional issues.
Oh yeah, no.
Men are meant to be strong, bear the weight of the family. We're not allowed to break. We're not allowed to, cry. We're not allowed to be soft. And it's honestly because of this that the male suicide rate has gone up, because nobody wants to listen to a wimp, quote unquote. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to accept the fact that the person who's supposed to be strong is breaking. I think that's a little ridiculous. I think it's something that needs to die in its old ways. But
I think it's still a thing passed down from, your grandfathers
it's
and great
generations.
grandfathers. It's like, men aren't supposed to cry. They're not supposed to show emotion. They're supposed to be stoic and fierce. And, you're not supposed to see that a man has a weak side. And I think that's the biggest load of fucking shit in my life. Like, I've seen
I
my father cry
understand.
twice. Once was
I
at his father's
understand.
funeral, and yeah,
I understand that there are times when you need the male figure to be strong. In times of crisis, in times of hardship, it helps if you have somebody who can appear to not be bothered, a shoulder to lean on. But at the same time, I'm really good at wearing masks.
oh yeah, I think we've learned
I've
how
done
to.
it for years. Like, I've done it for years to the point where I've lost track of it's a mental issue, actually. I'm not sure I could ever go back to how I was in high school in terms of personality. I've had to wear so many different masks that I think I've lost my original self.
I
don't even
that. Go ahead.
I don't even remember. Like, I can look back on it. I can look back on how we had fun and whatnot, like, times at the park, Halloween, all that fun shit. But I don't think I could ever switch back. I don't think I could take the mask off and go back to the me that would get hurt, the me that would love too easily and trust too easily because I've been fucked over too many goddamn times.
I was going to say, that I think that I used to wear like this armor that was
Yep.
like untouchable. So like I would hold it in and I wouldn't get depressed back then. I had so many like good things in life and just everything was, even though like I lost my mom at a young age and I had to switch my whole life up moving with my dad and my stepmom and all that, I still had like this armor that like I felt like I was untouchable. And then
Mm-hmm. It broke.
like it broke and like I'm slowly building up new armor.
Mm-hmm.
But like even like the girl I've been talking to on and off for the past year, I don't even think it's been that long, but like I broke down to her one day and I looked at well, I didn't look at her. We were messaging and I said, I just think it'd be best, and I shouldn't have said this. And luckily I got a response that was amazing. I said, honestly, I think it's just best that we probably don't talk. I'm too broken and damaged and it wouldn't be worth your time. And she's like, in a nutshell, she was just like, but I want to help. I want to help you, and I want to be there for you. And
Oh,
I'm broken
goodness.
too.
Mm-hmm.
So rather
So
than shy away, she was like, you know what? So am I. Let's fix each other almost. Let's.
yeah,
Like you're not in this
It's just one of
alone.
them things. That's one of the things that I think people. The biggest issue with depression, when it comes down to it, is your mind will sit there and tell you nobody cares. Your mind
Mm-hmm.
will sit there and tell you you could disappear now and nobody
or
would
you
miss
just
you.
want attention.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that
Ugh.
one.
Well, no, I'm not saying what other people would say. I'm saying what your mind tells you.
Yeah,
Other people will be like, "Oh, you're doing this for attention. You're doing this as you want people to talk to you," and it's like, "Shut the fuck up, you little fucking twat."
I've gotten the attention thing so much this past year. Are you just depressed because you want people to care and show you attention? Well, I'm not going to show you
I'm
that
sorry.
attention.
Here's my argument to that. Okay, cool. Say I'm depressed because I just want attention. Humans are social animals. Of course, I want attention.
Or
Mm-hmm.
you're just getting all those tattoos to fill the void and want attention, or you paint your nails because you want attention. I've heard the attention thing
Lazy
so
if you were
much.
depressed, yeah, that'll do it. People don't understand how this mental health shit works, and it's honestly stupid that they don't understand. I don't know if it's ignorance or stupidity. It's got to be one or the other. There is no way that like you don't have any sympathy. You don't have any empathy. I can shut empathy and sympathy off, no problem. If I don't know you, I can not care about you. I can pretend you don't exist. No fucking problem. I would never turn a blind eye to somebody who was actively in that mentality of they're about to jump.
Mm.
Because mainly I've been there. There are people, unfortunately, that have I don't know how else to say it, so I'm going to use very poor choice of words. They've made depression a meme. And because of that, people aren't taking it seriously.
Well, I also
And
think that a lot of people that are struggling, they cope with making it a joke.
I mean, yeah, what's it? Robin Williams was quoted saying, "Oh, what was it? I don't think it was actually Robin Williams. I think Robin Williams was used for the quote, like it was a picture of him. Your saddest people are the ones who can make other people laugh, or something like that. I don't remember what it was. And it's just like I don't know where I'm going with this. In all honesty, my train of thought's going
It's
9
just like
different lanes.
I watch a bunch of YouTube, so like I watch David Dobrik, and then he has a buddy named Scotty Sire. So I immediately got drawn to him, and a lot of his old jokes were like depressing and stuff like that. And actually, if I can, shout out Scotty Sire. You follow me on Twitter, so that's amazing. But like I really like connected with him because of like you could see what he's going through, but he's using comedy to like avoid it
Mm-hmm.
and make jokes about it. And I find myself from time to time doing that.
Uh,
Like,
by the way, not to
I
interrupt,
can't think of it.
you were on the right path, Fang. It is by Robin Williams.
Huh?
You were on the right path. It is by Robin Williams. It is. I think the saddest people always try their hardest to make people happy because they know what it is to feel absolutely worthless and they don't want anyone else to feel like that.
Okay, so it is Robin Williams.
I do that a lot too.
It's true though, because it's almost like this weird sense of I'm going through hell. Well, I don't want anybody else to
Feel that pain.
feel that pain. I
Right.
don't want anybody else to fight these demons.
But I've
And
also always put, and not so much recently because I've been trying to put myself before others. I'm not trying to sound greedy,
No.
but like over half my life, probably up until I was like 20, I'll say it, 29. I always put everyone before me.
yep,
Drop
there
everything
were
for everybody.
dude. I remember getting text messages from you asking me how I do it because you asked me how you could stop caring, and I told you I wasn't going to tell you how to do that.
I mean, I still put everybody before me, but like here recently, like if I'm not feeling it at work, I asked my boss to go home. There was a time like a month ago or two
Where
where
they
he
sent
looked
you
at
home?
me and he was like, "Dude, you're not yourself. I've never seen you this low. You're not talking to anybody." Like I
I also want
wasn't
to
even
point out
like, "Hi, how are you?"
real quick. That's a good boss. That's a sign of a good boss.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like just last week I had another episode where like I was getting angry at every little thing. Things that my job entails. Like I was getting pissed because customers were coming in. I was getting pissed and then like I was getting depressed. And I looked at him, I was like, dude, I'm not feeling good. Like can I go home? And he was like, yeah. Well, of course my other boss got shitty and was like, you're fucking lazy and I'm like, I'm not fucking lazy. I'm like, I could fucking work this shit on 3 people blindfolded and get shit done. But like if I'm not mentally here, and a lot of that's happened the last year, maybe I should be fired and not have a job because I'm going through so much stupid shit. But like, if I can't function, I don't want to be here. I don't want to take down the team.
Right.
And a lot of people, and this probably applies everywhere around the world and at jobs. You walk in, you could have like the best night's sleep, feel the most positive you've ever been, walk into your job, and that one person could be in a shitty attitude or upset or depressed, and then it affects your emotions.
Oh yeah.
Suddenly it's morale. It's a morale difference. That's all it comes down to.
I don't want to bring everybody else down.
Let's get slightly away here. I know, like, you think mental health, you think depression. There are several other forms of mental health.
Yes, there is. You have your seven common types of your mental disorders, which is depression. You have anxiety disorders such as generalized anxiety, social anxiety.
Gotta love that.
Panic disorders, phobias. You have obsessive compulsive disorder, which Alpha has.
Alpha.
You've got bipolar disorders. You've got PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, schizophrenia, personality disorders such as borderline personality, narcissistic personality, antisocial personality, your dissociative IDA as well.
All right. Well, since you're gonna fucking call me out like that,
I mean, I've got phobias.
let's talk about it. So, my OCD is weird because it changes all the time. Like most people, I've seen like stuff like there was a show on MTV years ago where like there was a guy who suffered from OCD and he would have to take like 3 rolls of toilet paper at a time, or like he would have to like touch the door, and then when he closed the door he would have to touch it. I'm not like that.
Yeah,
I'm not knocking anybody like that.
I would say yours is a mild case of OCD.
So this is my OCD, and I would not talk to anybody about this. I had an ex-girlfriend, not my last ex, but the one
all the damn time.
But the one before, because I can trust you. I know that I could tell you that I have a foot fetish, and you're not gonna fucking judge me.
Same.
I could tell you, you're not gonna judge me, unless you're silently judging me. But I know at the end of the day, you're not gonna judge me. But I would not tell anybody this. My dad, my family members, nothing. Well, I had an ex. It was probably like 2 or 3 exes back.
We get it. You fuck around.
No. But she's like, why are you like? I've noticed some things like you do this and that. And I finally just broke down to her. I'm like, look, I have a bad case of OCD. da 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 da. And then I told my ex-girlfriend about it, and she understood. So my OCD, and I'm sure a lot of people with OCD might have this same OCD, but like in a nutshell, and it's gotten worse, but it's gotten better, and then it gets back to worse. So my
I got a
OCD is
story for this.
about me.
Yep.
Oh fuck me.
You asked me to help you, so I tried.
So I'll wake up. This is where my OCD is now. My room has to be clean. I could give a fuck less about what the bathroom looks like. Well, actually, it kind of bugs me, but give a fuck less what the living room looks like. Yada yada yada. As long as my room is clean, I'm fine. The main thing is I will wake up in the morning.
I'm feeling like P. Diddy. No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
No, not even fucking close. But I'll go, okay, so I woke up. I have an hour to get ready and get to work. I work. After work, I have to work out, do this, watch my YouTube, try to fit in the stream,
He has to follow in the routine.
watch my shows, and go to bed at this time. If that time hits and I'm way behind, I don't give a fuck about sleep. I cannot go to bed until I know damn near at least 95% of the things I set that day are done. Like if I know that it's like midnight and I have to be up at 4 the next day and I still have like another show to watch, I'm like, okay, cool. So now, excuse me, but now I'm behind for tomorrow. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow, but I'm sure there's shit I have to do on top of what I didn't get done. And it was actually so bad at one point. I don't know how to explain this. I don't think I've actually ever told anybody this one. But like my mind was so fucked in this like it was like the early stages of my OCD. It was like if I didn't get done everything I wanted to get done, that I didn't think I was going to wake up in the morning. Like I thought that I was going to die because I wasn't doing what I wanted to do.
It also
It's weird. I don't know how to like explain that and why it does that.
Well, that's the part of the OCD. It's, you know, you have to follow this exact routine because if you don't, things aren't right. And if things aren't right, you're probably not alive. And you know, that's just how the OCD works. The story that I was referring to, you had asked me, it was when I was living with you, and I think it was just after I had stopped you, like a day or two after I had stopped you. You had asked me for help on how to make life more appealing, and I was like, well, you need to change something up here. And you were like, well, I can't do that. So I had gone into your room. I was like, here's what I'm going to do. And I started slightly moving things. I think I moved your toenail clippers. I moved a book, or not a book, a movie.
This is triggering me.
I moved just a little bit, tiny little details. And I think you went about 3 weeks before you noticed that shit was out of place.
I don't remember this.
And you had messaged me like, dude, I don't know what the hell's going on in my room. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, you were like, all this stuff was moved and I didn't move it. I was like, no, I moved it 3 weeks ago. You asked me for help. I was making you realize that it's not the end of the world if things aren't orderly.
That's like when I move my setup, probably gonna do it Tuesday or Wednesday, but when I move my setup, it's gonna bug the shit out of me. But I know that I need to get it moved so I have more room in my room for
Right.
VR and etc. But like it's gonna bug me because this is how my room has looked for the past 2 years.
I don't know what I would call this. This would have to follow just under your very basic bitch anger issues, or almost I'd almost put it as control issues. Because if I make a plan, all right, if anything inconveniences that plan, I get mad. I get real mad, real fucking quick. I become impatient. And
Like if like say like we plan to go out and do something and then like somebody was late or didn't canceled.
Yeah, so let's say you, May, myself, and Scuba Steve. Next Friday, we're gonna go to the bar. 5 p.m. is when we're gonna be there. If it hits 4:30 and you're just now leaving your house, May is just now getting ready, and we haven't heard from Scuba Steve, my anger starts building. And the more and more that time zone ticks down, I'll get more and more angry. If we're late, I'll calm down when we get there.
So you get angry a lot when we set plans because
Oh,
I'm
dude,
gonna
you
be
don't know
late to
how
my
many
fucking
fucking
funeral.
you don't know how many fucking times you have said it. You're like, all right, man, I'll come up on Saturday. And it hits like 6 o'clock. I'm like, where the fuck is this guy at?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm slowly waking up from my nap.
Yeah, and then I'll be like, hey, man, you coming over? And you're like, nah, man, I can't. For a brief moment.
God damn it, motherfucker!
For a brief moment, I'm like, of course you're not, you son of a bitch. Like, I get that anger for a brief moment. And then I go, no, wait, hang on.
Calm down, Wolfie.
He's gonna show up. He's just trolling me, right? Like, I have to remind myself that you do that trolling thing where you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna make it when you're already sitting out in my fucking parking lot. That's why when you say you're coming over now, I look out my window constantly when I think you should be there. I'm looking out there to make sure, because I'll get that text message from you and saying like, yeah, I'm not gonna make it, and you're just sitting out in the fucking parking lot.
I'll sit in that parking lot for like 10, 15 minutes.
Dude,
before I
you sat
come.
out there 30 minutes one night.
There was
making
one
me-
night I came up, like you were like, "Hey man, are you still coming up?" And I was like, "Dude, I don't know, I'm tired." And then you're like, "Oh well, you'll be more alive when we're all hanging out." Got dressed, drove all the way up there, sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes, and I was like, I can't. Like, I'm so tired. Even if I go in there, it's gonna be like a bore fest because like I'm so tired. Like I'm not gonna want to do anything. And I literally started the car back up and went home.
Oh, shit.
It's just another one of the things. In terms of my mental states, I've told this story to both Lady and May. I told it to Lady as a terms of letting her know she's not alone with what she's got. Alpha, you witnessed it, but I don't think you realized what happened. I don't think you might have.
Okay, listening.
We were wrestling in Fitzgerald's living room. This would have been probably about a year after you met me, but we were wrestling in Fitzgerald's living room, and you had me in a chokehold. You were on your back on the floor. I was on top of you with my back to you, but you had me in a chokehold. I had spun around and grabbed your throat. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't me. I was watching that happen over my shoulder.
I would love how Fitzgerald's stepdad would get so into us all wrestling. He'd be like,
Yeah.
all right, let's do it.
You know, fuck you big son of a bitch.
Like,
You
he'd
can
be
bitch
so
brace-
into it. He would love it when like Fitzgerald and I would like pick on the littlest son.
Oh yeah.
And like I would be like 18 and Fitzgerald would be like 16 and the littlest son would just be like little
Fucking
9-year-old.
Yeah, 19-year-old.
Let me go.
Didn't we hold him over the banister once?
I don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
The
I
upstairs
don't
ba-
think I was
I
there.
think we held. I think it was me, mopping Stretch. I couldn't remember his nickname for a second. I think it was me, Stretch, and Fitzgerald, and we just picked up the littlest son by his ankles and held him over the fucking stair banister.
I would love to have Moppin on this podcast.
Especially, I haven't talked to him in a hot minute. It'd be nice to know how he's doing.
I
He
mean,
can
I've
give us
talked
some
to him-
insights to the Navy.
I've talked to him here and there, but like not so much. Like,
Right.
Well,
I know
I'd
there
be
was
sick
there
to
was
have him.
one moment you almost saw me break down in a football match. I got hit and I laid there for a hot minute. I think that was probably the first time you ever heard me somewhat growl, because I was curled up and breathing heavily and growling, like pant growling. Just I don't know if I could recreate it. Just that just I was doing that number, and you were concerned. You were
Did I know
genuinely
about everything
concerned.
then.
You didn't know about the mental thing, I don't think I've ever told you about my mental shit.
No, I
About
meant like everything.
oh yeah, yes, that would have
Yeah,
been right
so
after I told. Right
that's
after I told you, it would have been a couple days after I had informed you.
that's why I was concerned.
Yeah.
I felt like Styles Stilinski and you were Scott McCall. Chained him to the radiator.
But that was also when you realized I had that skin problem where if I get too
Too hot.
if I get too hot, if I exert myself or whatever, and I break out into those that red hives.
Of course, it was nice to find out that you're not the only person that suffers that in your family.
Yeah, I was happy but mad at the same time because we were at Thanksgiving and I was explaining to I think Jenny.
Yeah, it was Jenny.
And I was explaining to her because she saw me just clawing at my arm, and she's like, "Are you all right?" I was like, "Yeah, it's just if I get too hot, if I get too excited, if I exert myself, I get too embarrassed, what have you, I break out into these painful red bumps." And I just heard my uncle go, "Yeah, that happens to me a lot too." And I just turned to him and went, "It was you.
It was you son of a
You
bitch.
caused this." That's where the genetics come in.
I almost had a similar situation, I think last week, about your like football incident. So I was at work and one of the employees got mad because I ran to the back to get something, didn't tell them where I was going. Side note, I don't have to tell you, you're not my boss.
Mm.
I'm not saying I'm better than this person or less, but you're like, we're the same position. Like, I don't have to be like, hey, yes, it's a nice gesture. Hey, I'm running to the back to grab this. So I went back and grabbed whatever I was grabbing. My lane beeped, went to back booth, took an order, and they started yelling, well, we need da-da-da-da up front, and no one's up here. So then, like, I bit my tongue, and then they said something else, and I said, sorry for doing my job. So then they replied back with, I can't even remember. I was slowly getting angry at this point, and they said something else. So I barely remember everything, but like I kind of like blacked out, and I was just like, look, you're not my fucking boss. I don't have to fucking tell you shit. And then like my actual boss was like, all right, we need to calm down. And he was like, you need to tell me like if you're doing this. And I was like, I don't have to fucking tell you shit. I like slammed the fucking drawer, and then like I just started breathing real heavy and was just like looked down at one point. My hand was in a fist. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is a petty fucking argument. Like, was I about to like hit this fucking dude or something? Like, I almost had to check out and leave that day. Like, I about just put my headset down and was like, I don't care if I get fired. I'm hopping in the car and leaving.
There was a moment here actually just this last week. So for those who don't know, I drive a forklift for work. I deal with moving product around. We had gotten fucked over due to a late truck, and I was already getting pissed off. Everything was annoying. I think I posted in my server that everything is annoying me today.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my last truck of the day. 2:00, last truck of the day shows up. I'm out at 2:30. That gives me 30 minutes to do a truck that takes an hour. And the product is called Toyotomi. It's what it is it's the metal ceiling that goes around the car window. That metal, like, I don't know what you would call it, the railing, I guess, that you would put the window into. That's what Toyotomi is. And it comes in these metal racks. And sometimes the metal racks are real easy. They have real big open slots you can stick your forks into, and you pick it up and you back out. Other times they have these really small slots. And because our forklifts have been used so much, our forks are bent. Like, one is slightly higher than the other. Well, I had gone in and I was trying to move quick, get the job done so I get out of here on time. So I went in, one fork went into the slot, the other one bounced off of it, which caused me to jerk in my forklift and bang my head on the overhead of my forklift. So now, not only am I pissed off, I'm hurting. Like, I'm now hurt.
I'm in
which
pain.
pissed me off even more. So I backed up, popped that shit into gear, and just rammed into the product. Like I knocked out. These are metal racks. I knocked out 2 of the metal supports of these metal racks.
Shit.
Backed out again. Got my forks lined up properly. Got the forks into the slots, but still didn't stop going forward. I slammed it into the fucking nose of that trailer and then backed out and slammed it on the ground.
I'm going fucking home.
No, the best thing is, so I am the senior operator of my dock. I am the youngest person on that dock. At 27, I am the youngest, but I am the senior operator. So nobody questioned anything. They drove by, nodded their heads, and kept going. Like that's all they did.
Well, 'cause I'm pretty sure
Fast
anybody that's
forward
also
to-
been there has done Toyotomi and knows the irritation of that truck.
Yeah. We got
Fast
a lot
forward
of
to break time, they were like, "Fucking Fang, okay? Jesus Christ, must be having a bad one."
I've been stopped before because I think I had misshipped 4 different items onto a trailer.
Oh, shit.
And I got stopped, and they weren't mad at me. They made it very clear, we're not mad at you. We're concerned. This isn't like you. What's going on? Is it company related? Do we need to do this? Do we need to do that? I was like, look, my head is just not in the right space right now. Give me a minute and leave me alone.
So I want to talk a little more about the mental health as well. So a lot of people are like, what causes mental illness? Is it just does
There
it
could be a number of fucking
like does it
things.
develop over time? Are you just crazy? Like what's going on? Well, what causes mental illness is it could be genetics. So mental illness often can run and does run in
I'm
families.
infected by your genetics.
Environment. So living in a stressful environment can make you more likely to develop a mental illness, like living
Mhm.
in poverty or having an abusive family puts a lot of stress on your brain and often triggers mental illnesses. Childhood trauma. Even if you're no longer in stressful environments, things that happen to you as a child can have an impact later in life, which is very, very true. Stressful events like losing loved ones or being in a car accident. Negative thoughts, constantly putting yourself down or expecting the worst can get you stuck in a cycle of depression or anxiety, which I am bad about. I spiral hard.
Yeah,
I go like
Mhm.
it's like and Fang has seen it. I will spiral myself right into a panic attack, like just tears, snot, ugly crying. It's there, full blown on.
It actually happened yesterday.
Yes, yes, it did. It did. um,
It was just a minor inconvenience, but it was enough.
yeah, but I was sobbing. Like I was sitting here
Yeah.
sobbing for
I
no
came I came
reason.
I came down here to check on her, and she had taken her headset off, and she was sitting there crying. I'm like, "Hey, it ain't that big of a deal, you know."
And I'm just sitting here going, "Yes, it is." But
Yeah.
unhealthy habits like not getting enough sleep or not eating, which I'm really
Oops.
bad at not. Drugs and alcohol, abusing drugs and
Oops.
alcohol can trigger a mental illness. It can also make it harder to recover from mental illness.
Yep.
Also, brain chemistry. Mental illness involves an imbalance of natural chemicals in your brain and your body. So another thing, like I was referring previously, it's like when people say, "Well, just get over it." It's like you literally can't. Like there's no way to be like, "Oh, flip the switch," like you were saying earlier. Like, why didn't I think of that? There's like, it is genuinely damn near impossible for someone just to suddenly switch off their
I
anxiety or things like
I
that.
have an argument to that isn't technically an argument.
Mm.
So bear with me on this. The idea of suddenly not caring, the idea of suddenly treating everything like it is okay, you can do.
Yeah.
It is entirely possible to suddenly not care, to suddenly disassociate yourself with what is happening. The difference is you're not technically doing that. What you're doing is pretending.
well, there's something I usually do if I'm like, I don't do it all the time, and this might be healthy, but it might not. I don't know. Just I guess depends on how you take it. But if like say there's like
She takes it
something
pretty
going
well.
on,
Shut up.
if there's something going on at work, or if I go home and something's bothering me, or I cry about it, or to where I cry about it, Once I've cried, I'm over that situation.
Mm.
Done.
Yeah.
It's in the past. And some people can be like, that's a good thing. You cried, you got over it. And some people are like,
So
it's a bad thing because you cry. Because it could even be like, I lost somebody, like a family member. I cried, I'm over it. Yes, I still think about that family member from time to time, but I've cried. Now I'm over that right now. I'm not going to cry about it or think about it again.
an example of what you're talking about here, and to May and Alpha, this isn't going to be any news. To some of you in my community who don't know, which is probably a vast majority of you in all honesty, we'll start with this. Alpha and I have been friends for a very, very long time. Damn near half our lifetimes.
It legitimately is half my life.
Yeah, like it's 14, 15 years now. I'm going on 28. Like
In a minute.
we've been friends for a long time. There was a brief moment I disappeared completely. He didn't hear from me for a long time. In that time frame, I'm still thankful for this, for what he ended up doing for me in the end. There was a moment where I was homeless. I was couch surfing. I was stealing for food. Because of this, I can tell you how much certain Magic cards are worth just by looking at them. Because I would steal Magic the Gathering card packs from Walmart and sell the rares because you were guaranteed a rare. So if you stole five packs, you were pretty much guaranteed $5. And I would use that $5 for cigarettes or for soda because I'm reliant on soda. I'm still reliant on soda. But the food I would steal, I was only eating a pack of jerky, a singular pack of teriyaki beef jerky that I stole from a gas station that's actually right down the street from my house now. And you know, there were several moments where I'd wake up hungry. I'd sit in the house hungry. I'd go to bed hungry. So sleep is the poor man's dinner hits pretty hard with me because you're damn fucking right it is. You fall asleep hungry, you wake up and you're not hungry anymore for a hot second. But there would be moments where I would sit there and I would cry because I'm bottom of the fucking barrel. Yeah, I can't. I'm sitting there thinking it can't get much worse than this. I call this my own personal hell, and I understand there are people out there who go through worse, who are still going through worse to this day. I'm not saying my hell is worse than anybody's, but I went through my hell. And there'd be moments I'd wake up and I'd cry. And, after I'd cry, I'd kind of like slap my face a little bit and be like, all right, let's do something. Me and my friend, who is no longer really my friend, he's an associate. I can call on him and he will help me, but I don't consider him a friend because he stole from me. But he would come in and he'd be like, hey, let's go take a walk. And not like we had much of a choice. I didn't have a car, but we would walk down the street. We'd walk for miles, really. And we'd talk. And in that moment of walking, I could come up with a plan. I could come up with a solution. Suddenly, my problems weren't big, major problems. They were things that were easy to solve. And I could figure out what to do to make it into next week. I could figure out what to do, how to survive. I mean, hell, I was 3 days in the middle of winter up in Michigan in a house where the heating for that house came from a dryer. You would turn the dryer up, set it for like 2 hours or whatever, rig the door so that it would run even though the door was open, run the long ass like silver dryer vent things. You would run that through, and that was your source of heat. You would just point it at you, and that's how I stayed warm. The only food I had was popcorn, which, let me tell you, popcorn's good, but there's no nutritional fucking value in that. And the only source of water that I had, I took a Polar Pop cup out of the trash, rinsed it out, took it outside, scooped up snow, dumped the snow into a cup in the house, melted it in the microwave, and that was my drink. And then I'd go out and I'd do it again for the dog that was under my care. Thankfully, I had dog food for him because I don't know what I would have done otherwise. But that's how he and I drank water. And I was up there for 3 days like that. And that was fucking hell. I remember getting so hopeful. I looked out the window and I saw a yellow sign. And I was like, oh, thank God, there's a McDonald's down the road. So I went through the house looking for dimes, pennies, whatever the fuck I could find to, like, get some meat. Like if I could just get a McDouble or, something. And I ended up scrounging up like $3 or $4, and I walked down the road freezing fucking cold. And it turns out it wasn't a McDonald's. And since it was the middle of the night, what it was closed. It was a Dollar General.
Mhm.
So I turned around and walked back and then just kind of sat out there for a minute going, what the fuck am I going to do now? And it's one of them things where my entire point of this is times can get hard and it's okay to cry about it. It's okay to clear your mind because ultimately you can find a solution after you've grieved. And it's just, there's a brief little Fang history lesson for you guys, that shit that I went through.
Um, before we come to a close,
Well,
we still got about like 9 more minutes.
Yeah, we got about 9 minutes.
If you're not sure if you or someone you know is living with a mental health problem, experiencing one or more of the following feelings or behaviors can be an early warning sign of a problem.
Mhm.
Eating or sleeping too much or too little, pulling away from people and usual activities, having low or no energy, feeling numb or like nothing matters, having unexplained aches and pains, feeling helpless or hopeless, smoking, drinking, or using drugs more than usual, feeling unusually confused, forgetful, on edge, angry, upset, worried, or scared, yelling or fighting with family and friends, experiencing severe mood swings that can cause problems in relationships, having persistent thoughts and memories you can't get out of your head, hearing voices or believing things that are not true, thinking of harming yourself or others, or the inability to perform daily tasks like taking care of yourself, your kids, or getting to work or school. Um, there are tons of websites and phone numbers that you can call for mental health. There are, and I will preach this till I am blue in the face, there are therapists that are out there to help you get through times like these. Um, like I said, mental health for us is something that's very important, and it is something that until recently wasn't taken serious. It was seen as, oh, you're just like Alpha said, oh, you just want attention, or in the past times. And Patrick Stewart did a great experience of this. His mother was abused by his father because he had PTSD. And they asked his mother, well, what'd you do to make him upset? Because they didn't understand PTSD. They didn't understand that he was having mental trauma and was taking it out on his family. Um, but if you or a loved one is experiencing mental health issues or are mentally ill, please do not feel like you are a failure or worthless for seeking out help. The only way to know you have a problem is to admit that you know you have one. Um, Positive mental health allows you to realize their full potential, to cope with stresses in your life, to help you work productively, make meaningful contributions to their communities. Ways to maintain a positive mental health are getting professional help, like I said, connecting with others. Like this podcast is fantastic for my mental health because I really enjoy having this time to talk with my brother and my husband and just shoot the shit literally, or like today researching stuff about the issue we're talking about. It does so much for me to give me a constructive outlet to do with my fidgetness or like my constant always worrying and my intrusive thoughts. So this is a fantastic use of mental health. Like serotonin is doing this. Um, it may sound difficult, but staying positive, like just I've told people many a times that small victories are fantastic. Like, and I consider, hey, you woke up and you got out of bed today. That is a fantastic victory. That is a victory for you. You got out of bed. You got dressed. You brushed your teeth. You brushed your hair. Small victories, no matter how tiny or infinitesimal they are, is a victory. Helping others. I know I love making other people laugh. So that's a great way to also help you feel better. Sleep. believe it or not. A good night's sleep is great for your mental health. And it's just, don't feel afraid to seek help. Don't be afraid to talk to your friends and family. You know, I always say our household is a supportive household. I'll put a cup of tea on, get some coffee going, what have you. If you have someone or a place that's safe, talk to them. Sit there, let your woes and worries out and just cope with what you can. And I would rather have someone here than not here. So I would always rather help you work through your problems than see you lying in a box.
It's like the other day when Alf and I ended up writing a kick-ass song just because I was helping him through some shit.
I think my 3 biggest therapy, well, 4 actually, if I can rattle these off real quick, is obviously the podcast. Like I could have a shit week, and even if we're just talking about something that doesn't even like remotely revolve around like mental health or whatever, I get to vent, and it just clears my mind. And I love being like streaming, whether there's people there chatting with me or not. It gets my mind off things. Another thing is tattoo sessions. That is my therapy. I don't knock people that go to therapy. For me, I don't think it's my thing. I don't want to sit there and talk to somebody I don't know, even though they're judge free. I would rather go get a tattoo, take that pain, and revolve it into another form of pain, and then have someone's art on me. Another thing is writing music. I've been writing music since I think the year after my mom passed, so 17 years now. And it helps. I get a lot of the best stuff I've written is this past year and all my trauma and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly is everyone hates MGK, and I know I've talked about him a lot on these podcasts, but his not his last album, but the album before that, the one that we went and saw the concert of, that helped me through my breakup. That whole album I would put on repeat almost every day, every other day, and it would get me to that breakup. And then an artist that him and Travis Barker had found, Jaden, he has an album, and there's a song on it that really helped me. I even have it tatted on my arm to remind me. It's his album's called Tell Me About Tomorrow, but he has a song on there where his friend had tried to commit suicide. And it's just essentially like, tell me your problems, tell me how you're going to be here tomorrow. So those are like my form of therapy.
Yeah.
I would say you are officially done, Fang.
Yep, that's looking good too.
Your demigod form is officially done.
And now you can start working on the other stuff.
I can start working on Sarah. So I think we're going to go ahead and call it a wrap on that.
Yep.
So make sure to remember at 100 subscribers, I will be doing the True Alpha's makeup. Make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you find yourself coming back to watch our content. So
I will say this: if you didn't like the subject of today's episode, suck it.
No,
like, I'm not trying to be fucking mean, but like we're gonna talk about what we want to talk about. You don't like it, don't watch it.
And a lot of people want to hear this. They want to know
they're not
alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
And people that like follow us and know us through social media or your community or our streams or even the Wolfcast, like if they connect with us in any of those forms, like they want to know that they're going through those same problems. They're not alone. So like,
oh yeah,
they're going to listen to it. If you don't want to listen to it, then
good on you.
Listen.
I gotta make it.
Subscribe.
Go ahead and hop over to our Patreon. It is Wolfcast Podcast. We have polls. We have one-on-one meetings. You can be in a podcast. We can shout your name out at the end of our podcast. I can also do art lessons. I'm not the greatest of artists, but I will happily pass on the knowledge that I have. So,
lies.
Fuck it. Let's start getting like Kai and Lady and all them on here.
Right.
I would love to have Moppin, Tyler, Tyler back, Lady, Kai. I was actually going to ask Kai earlier, not to be on this one, but like if he would ever want to be on one.
Well, I mean, I know next Sunday.
Lady's down to be on one.
Smeagol. I still want Smeagol on.
Yeah.
Well, I know next Sunday we're doing a Mother's Day podcast because, Mothers
Lady
are
can join
awesome.
us for that one.
Yep,
So-
Lady could absolutely join us for
yeah.
that one.
And then what we could do is the one after that we could put a poll out on your Discord and see if anybody wants to do a just chatting and chilling with your group, kind of a way to include
Mhm.
them and get everyone's different ideas and thoughts, because we do have friends in there that
Obviously,
are
we'd have to
across the
we'd
pond.
have to limit that though, because we couldn't just have everybody hop in. That'd be utter chaos to have that
Yeah.
many people in a Discord call.
Just a little bit. Wrong one. Way.
Yep.
Go ahead and hop over to our spring. Go ahead and just get your latest Wolfcast merch. Use Wolfcast20 for 20% off your entire order. Head over RW.
Do not buy the Notice Me Senpai Fang.
Do buy the Notice Me Senpai thing.
Do not buy Notice Me Senpai
You
Fang.
can buy Notice Me Senpai Alpha. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I've got to get that put up on the school. I've been slacking
I
on
still
that.
want Notice Me Senpai Fang taken down.
No.
Delete it.
Go ahead and visit our affiliate Dubby. All the descriptions for it and links are in the description below. Use Wolfcast10 for 10% off. It is a fantastic energy powder with no crash. And it's just it's a wonderful product to have.
It's the bee's knees.
It's the bee's
I've only
knees.
drank it once.
It's the
I
penguin's
bitched to
elbows.
complain that I never got, or I was waiting forever, and I've only drank once out of it.
All that bitching and complaining.
It's good.
It's good.
They actually just released a new flavor. It's like peach something.
Oh, nice.
Did they?
Well, make sure to check us out on
You
all of
don't
our
fucking keep up with them, do
socials.
you?
Got Twitter and Fang. Wow.
Twitter and Fang.
Twitter and Fang, yeah.
I am now Twitter. Fuck you, Elon Musk.
Doing what he couldn't.
You've got the true
Actually,
alpha.
I'm sorry. I love Twitter. Please don't take me off, Elon.
Canceled. No, follow the True Alpha and Fang on Twitter and Twitch. You have me everywhere. So I'm always available to talk, and I love sharing my thoughts and ideas with
You're
people.
not on Pornhub.
Not yet.
I'm
She's
gonna
like,
like
click, click, click.
no, I'm gonna no comment that one because no.
Oh, so you are.
Shut
I was about
up.
to say, didn't you used to have a video on there?
No, I didn't.
Wait, you're on Pornhub?
I'm not on Pornhub. I do
Oh,
not have a
Jesus
video on Pornhub.
Yet.
Shut up.
Anymore.
But we love you guys. We
I can think of a couple
you.
ideas.
Be quiet. Thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate the love and support that you bring us. And this is a fantastic way for me to share my thoughts and ideas. And I really enjoy
Not
doing
selfish.
this. No, I love being on here and talking with you guys and just being like, hey, here's some ideas I'm going to bounce off you guys. And the fact that I get, unbiased opinions and thoughts, instead of someone catering to, oh yeah, no, that's a good idea, May. And like, I want someone to act like, first of all, you dumb bitch, listen. So I really appreciate that you guys are honest with me and vice versa. So I really love it. I appreciate that our fans enjoy it. Yeah. But we will see you guys in the next video. Bye!
Goodbye.